Hello there, YouTube. Devin here again, and today I'm bringing another uniform review for you, comparison I should say, and it is on this horrific garment. For those of you who do know what this is, and for those of you who don't know what this is, you're going to learn about how horrific it really is by its pretty short service life, what it's made out of, how it fits and how it feels, and what it was actually used for as compared to what it looks like it's designed for. So this is what's known as the Canadian Paratrooper Garrison Jacket. It was designed in the late 80s, and it was adopted in 1989 to be used as a garrison uniform for the Canadian Parachute Regiment, essentially. For paratroopers, it's just meant to be a flashy thing. You'd wear it with your tall jump boots, and you would wear this in your beret, and you'd walk around looking really, really cool. And we're going to compare it to the American BDUs, because they actually came about in a lot of the same way. A lot of it was like, they didn't think they were cool enough. They saw other different parts of the military getting to use camouflage and stuff, and they thought that they deserved to have something that was basically just flashy. Kind of like, how in Vietnam, a lot of the reason the BDUs happened is because basically infantry people got the camouflage uniform, the class 2 uniform of the 3rd generation jungle fatigues, and that made a lot of officers and other people kind of jealous because they wanted the uniform. So lo and behold, the BDUs got given to everybody when not everybody really needed it, to be fair. And it got a lot of these weird, stupid, smart features in it that you really didn't need on a combat uniform. Like the BDUs have like the very squared off pockets, which is stupid. Stuff like that. But this uniform kind of appeared in much of the same way. It was kind of like a show of force by enough people to make this a thing. It was basically a whole prestige thing. But it's a really terrible garment, actually. It doesn't breathe well. It fits really well. It hangs really weird. It had a lot of weird regulations and stuff with it. It's too heavy for the summer, but it's too light for like the fall and winter. As a jacket for most of the year, it's not a very good uniform. So you would see service from basically 1989 to like 1993, 94, basically a service life of like 5 years. It was that terrible of a garment. It's a really neat kind of piece of history, though, in that regard, but it's not a very, very good garment at all. And like I said, it was never used in combat. This is Canada's first camouflage uniform, and they never used it for combat, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a camouflage uniform. It was pretty much universally hated, with all the regulations that were attached to it, coupled with what it was made out of, and coupled with the fact that only a couple people got to wear it. It was pretty stupid. It was a really, really dumb idea. It was really, really dumb carried out, and it made no sense basically from the beginning, other than somebody with enough weight behind them got jealous of something for it to be a thing. That's basically how this became the thing that it is now. So it was referred to as the paint. So you'd hear a lot of parachute regiment people called "go grab your paint," which meant this, because it kind of looks like just a jumbled mass of paint. It is very similar to like the Yugo camouflage, actually. So it's, a lot of people are like, it's based off of woodland, but it's not really. As you can see, it's kind of more rounded shapes. There isn't a lot of those long branches in it like woodland has, as we'll see when we compare the M81 BDU blouse to this. So it's a lot like the Serbian and the Yugoslavian camouflage, actually, as far as how the pattern is laid out, but just in a different color scheme. So that basically covers the entire history of this uniform. There's not a lot for it because it didn't serve long, and it was pretty well hated and nobody liked it. Most of them, you can still find them out there today. It's actually not a really, really bad coat if you're just out doing some light yard work, in the fall or something like that. It's kind of nice, but that's about the only time it's good, because it's not really waterproof, it's not really windproof, it's not all that great. But it's a light jacket, or like a really heavy shirt is how it could be described as. So if that's kind of something you're looking for and you're looking for a unique piece of history, well, here you go. You can still find some of these. They're getting kind of up their price, but they're around in wearable sizes. So, but we're going to flip the camera around now, take a look at this garment compared to the M81 BDU blouse, and see some similarities, some differences. Look at the material, all that other good stuff, and we will then pretty much conclude the video. There isn't a whole lot going on here. There isn't any trousers that were issued with this uniform, so we're not comparing the trousers, unfortunately. Just the blouse today, so stay tuned. Alrighty, so here we are with the Canadian Parachute Regiment Garrison dress here on the left, and the American BDU shirt here on the right. As you can see here, there's actually quite a lot of similarities to begin with, because they both were made kind of for the same purpose to start out with. So rather than being a really, really good combat uniform, they were kind of designed as a garrison uniform first, with both of these, and then this one would never be pressed into combat, and that one would, obviously. But they have a lot of the same kind of features with some different kind of creature comforts, and these two uniforms did serve alongside each other at the same time period, so with their respective countries. You see kind of the same collar, the lay flat style lapel collar. The Garrison dress jacket, though, has a zipper and then snap storm flap front, whereas the BDUs is just your standard buttons. The pockets are much of a similar design. The chest pockets on the BDUs are, you can see, very flat, very, very square, bellowed on two sides, the bottom and outer edge. The Canadian Garrison jacket is very, very squared off pocket of similar size, actually. Snap closure on the flap, and then it has one single expanding bellow here in the center. So no bellows around the edges, just one kind of bellow here in the center, and it doesn't even go all the way down to the bottom. It's bar tacked right here. So the bottom inch of this pocket is actually kind of useless because the bellow doesn't go up all the way, because it's bar tacked right here below the snap, and it's bar tacked right here. So the bellow is only 4 inches and right in the middle of the pocket. The waist pockets are pretty much the same. No bellows on any sides, but you have one kind of double bellow here in the center. Same thing, just a very square pocket, one single snap closure, which kind of sucks having one single snap closure because stuff can actually fall out of the pocket upside down and stuff like that. So it's good this is just a garrison uniform. It's just meant to look kind of flashy. The American BDUs, obviously, their pockets are bellowed, but only on the outer edge along the waist pockets. But it has 2 buttons for closure, which is more secure, actually. It's a better design, I think. See this big kind of oval patch here to reinforce the elbows on the Canadian Garrison jacket, which is all right, I guess. It doesn't do a whole lot. Now the cuffs, even before, a lot of people really complained that the sleeves were so baggy on this jacket, and they are. They're horrendously baggy on this jacket. And look at, even when the cuff is fully undone, how many different little creases and seams this has around the cuff to get it down to like a manageable wrist size. And then it has 2 different positions. It has open and then one kind of closed setting to bring it in even more, to keep wind and stuff out. So you can see the cuff would be pretty normal, but the sleeve is gigantic compared to the opening, whereas the BDU is much more sensible. They have a nice kind of rectangular elbow reinforcement piece, and then they have, 3 adjustment spots for, they have an open, a semi-closed, and they have a really tightly closed position, which I think is much better than this, unfortunately. So, the BDUs would be made out of a bunch of different materials. You'd see some made out of 100% cotton. The vast majority of them, though, are going to be made out of 50/50 nylon cotton ripstop. The winter ones are made out of twill. Obviously, this jacket, if we take a look here at the lining and everything, and then I'll show you the tag. So this is what the lining of the jacket looks like. It has a kind of cotton drawstring to help gather the waist to be very, very smart looking, obviously. It's a polyester lined, polyester cotton lined kind of jacket. It's based off of the American M65, actually. Supposedly this jacket is based off of the American M65. There's no means to put a liner in this, though. This is all that it is. You can't winterize this jacket or anything anymore. It has one internal chest pocket here. As you can see, it's held by a little piece of Velcro. At least this is the only Velcro on the whole jacket, so I got to give the Canadians credit for that. It's one little kind of big square internal pocket there. That's about it. So there's a little pen pocket right here alongside it. That's for any important documents or ID you would need would go in there. And then we'll take a look here at the tag to see who made it and everything like that. So here is the tag of this jacket. It is made by the MWG Apparel Corporation. It's a jacket garrison dress land. There's the, the NSN. The size is 70/40 through 42, which is my size. So how the Canadians work for their blouses and stuff, it is your height. The first 2 digits are your height, and then the second 2 digits are your chest circumference in inches. So just so you know, that's how Canadians size their garments. So this would be for somebody that is 70 inches tall with a 40 to 42 inch circumference chest. So for a lot of people don't know that, it's a little bit of a weird sizing, especially compared to like the Americans and stuff like that, where they have, a bracket sizing and stuff like that. The Canadians do, but theirs are all actual measurements rather than just like medium or large, which can vary, Theirs are actually measured with numbers. So you see that the shell of this jacket, so the outside camouflage part, is 100% polyester, which I don't like. It's kind of like a windbreaker-y feel, but it's like woven, so it's not like a windbreaker, so it's not like loud and swishy, but it still like feels the same, and it's kind of scratchy and not good. And then the lining is 65% polyester and 35% cotton, which has that very synthetic-y, feel to it as well. So it's not really comfortable. It doesn't breathe very well because of all that polyester, and the way it's like woven and this jacket is like assembled. It's not very good. Right behind the tag here is a second closed pocket with another little pen pouch here on the left, so you have one on either side. But that's about the history of this jacket. It's not a very good garment. It does have, the conditions for putting your patches on. You'd have your, your full ranks and everything like this, and they'd be in like a bright yellow color and stuff like that. You have your flag. It has little snap epaulette spots on it, just like an American M65 field jacket does, because that's what this is based off of. On the back, not a lot going on. You see here on the back of this jacket, it does have that little cord channel to run through. It does have a bi-swing back for like room to maneuver and stuff, but it's the way this jacket is assembled, it might as well not be there, because it's actually too far towards the center of the back to do any good, to where the flex is. So your shoulder blades all rub into this area, which doesn't have any bi-swing to it, but it does further over, so the bi-swing doesn't work on this jacket. And then it has here around the waist little tabs to kind of gather it around the waist, once again to keep kind of wind and weather out of this jacket, and to help it keep looking smart. The American BDUs, they do not have really anything going on in the back. No bi-swing, no nothing fancy. The uniform is shaped a little different though. The American BDU jacket is obviously a little hourglass shaped, which is nice. It looks very smart. It was meant to be starched and everything to be quite smart looking and stuff like that, whereas this was not. It's a much better uniform, I think, the American BDUs are. They went kind of a better way of having a garrison jacket and a combat jacket together, because it could be both. You just take all the patches and all the frills and shit off of this, and it works better as a combat uniform. But if you needed to gussy it up and fancy it up and put all your patches and stuff on there, you could, and it would be a very good garrison uniform. Whereas this is kind of a flop, and it was universally hated, and it's even made like crap. It's made out of really crappy materials and stuff. So hopefully you all like this video. Hopefully you all learned something about this rather terrible piece of uniform and kit. So I hope so anyways, because it's a piece of history regardless of what it is, even though it is absolutely horrendous. I own a few of these. They're around if you're looking for one, and if you're looking for a cool kind of unique pattern. It is Canada's first camouflage pattern ever home designed and adopted, so that's kind of neat. It's a piece of history in that regard, but that's about the only thing good about it. So thank you all for stopping by. Hopefully subscribe and like this video. It does help out in the algorithms. Leave a comment. That all helps too. There will be a link to the Patreon in the description of the video and stuff like that if you do want to help out. We just reached $69.69 for what I make monthly on all those videos, which is cool. The goal would be $100 by the end of the year, even though that will ruin the $69.69. So But whatever, that's all right. That's all right. It was funny to see while it lasted. My Patreons made it possible, adjusting their donations in order to make that happen. So it does get you into the Discord server if you do want to donate even for $1 a month. You get you into the Discord, and you could ask me all the questions you want, show me all the pictures and stuff you want, stuff like that for as little as $1 a month, and you could subscribe for as little as a month if you want. So it all helps out very much and is very much appreciated. So thank you all for stopping by, and I will see all of you here in the next video.